MongoDB driver directly, you have to be very careful that you don't make mistakes. So Mongoose serves as a wrapper for us over our MongoDB driver, and makes query easier for us. No, I'm not saying you can't use MongoDB direct. Sure, you can use MongoDB direct, can run your queries in MongoDB. Um, but in terms of who needs to be bothered about how you are running your query in MongoDB? You're the only one who is bothered about that. Yeah, your end users are not really interested in that. Neither is your front end developer really interested in that. So you can make your life easier, your developer experience easier. This is why we use ORMs like Mongoose. Mongoose is kind of like the most common one when it comes to MongoDB, but there are obviously other ORMs out there. Like probably must have heard things like Prisma and Drizzle and the rest. All right. There's one more thing I wanted to quickly discuss before. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Schemas. Yes. Let me just touch on the definition of schemas. So schemas. The definition of schema is cut across boards. It's the same thing whether you're using your SQL or no SQL. The idea is that you're defining your fields, the fields that should appear in uh, your DB, and the types of those fields. So obviously, when we hear the name schema that we're going to be using very soon, it sound familiar. It's just basically, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say this. It's just basically like TypeScript. If you know TypeScript, I'm sorry for you. So it's basically like TypeScript. You just define the types of the data that is expecting in your DB. It's so you can see one of the advantages our DB gives us over just storing our files, storing data in just files. And in files, you can't define such validations with your schemas. So with this thing, you can define that. Then lastly, before we go, so for our MongoDB, um, yes, for our MongoDB, the way MongoDB works. So I know I explained the SQL concept of entities and tables. Now, like I said, since MongoDB doesn't have that format, what it has is, so when we hear all these terminologies, it won't be strange to us. MongoDB has what we call, first of all, the first layer is the MongoDB, right? That is the MongoDB driver. Then beneath the MongoDB driver, what we have is what you can call, not what you can call it, is our databases. So now our databases, now beneath our databases, next level is what we call our collections. So collections is what we call tables in SQL. I hope the picture is coming clear. Then inside the collection, you can have multiple documents. So a document is basically what I call an entity in SQL. Then also, then further below our documents, we have what we call models as well. Yeah, and that one is just what we have specially for MongoDB. So that sums it up for us. So the concept of what we just did today was just to introduce us to databases, the advantages of using a database rather than storing your data to your disk on a file. We looked at the kinds of DBs that we have. We have our relational database management systems, which primarily uses our structured query language, our SQL. Examples of those SQLs are MS Access, MySQL, Postgres SQL. Then just our DBMS, our normal DBMS, which is NoSQL. which uses the BSON format. Um, our most common DB there is MongoDB. The MongoDB, like I explained, is going to be our focus for this class. So when we hear terminologies like our schemas, which I've explained is just you defining types of how data will be stored in your databases. Then we have our documents, which represents a collection, sort of like a sort of like collection of this identical type of data types. Basically, our collection is just more like uh, our documents is just more like our schemas with their real data this time around, rather than just their types and all the good stuff. So so tomorrow I'll definitely come in more early. I will tomorrow's class. I will drop the information very early, probably around 12 p.m. But the class is likely going to be 6 p.m. So I just want us to be ready. If I haven't started the class by then, just drop a notification in the Slack channel.
By what time, please?
6 p.m.
When is it
tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Yes, 6 p.m. tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like I said, tomorrow we're going to code connecting to MongoDB, and we'll try and connect the app that we've been working with. Probably try that tomorrow. If not, probably next tomorrow. Try to connect the app that we've created so far with our MongoDB database. All right. Yes. I beg. No, in fact, I'm not begging. But go ahead and submit your task. Except you don't want to be promoted. But please go ahead and submit your task. And honestly, task is very simple, very basic. Even if you've not been in the classes, you should be able to attempt it. So I want to see more information because it's very sad that in the back end you just have one person that has been promoted from back end. That is a very sad statistics. It's not looking good at all. So please go and work on your task, please. And that'll be all for tonight. Good night, everybody.